Most people think their job exists for one reason, a paycheck. But if you look closely, your employer is doing something much bigger. They're funding your health insurance, matching your investments, subsidizing your education, even helping you qualify for loans. In other words, your job is already acting like a venture capital firm. Most people just never invest that capital into themselves. Today, we're stopping the servant mindset and moving into extraction mode. By the end of this, you'll have an understanding on how to identify the hidden 30% bounty sitting in your HR portal right now. Lock in the only 100% instant ROI left in the modern economy. Use your job as a credit lever to build a real estate moat while someone else pays for it. Stick with me. Let's check these numbers. Look, your salary is a lie. When you signed that offer letter for $70,000, you thought that was the number. It isn't. If you're working a standard corporate job, your total compensation is likely closer to $91,000. That extra $21,000 is your invisible portfolio. It's the money your employer spends on you that never hits your checking account. Most people treat these benefits like a nice to have. They ignore the fine print because the portal is boring to navigate. But here's the reality. If you aren't using every dollar of that 30% premium, you are effectively giving your boss a refund. Think about health insurance. The average employer-sponsored plan costs about $8,400 per year for a single person. If you're healthy and you just pick the standard plan without looking at the math, you might be overpaying in premiums for coverage you don't need. Or consider life and disability insurance. Buying a private long-term disability policy can cost $1,500 to $2,500 a year. Most corporate jobs provide basic coverage for free. If you didn't know that and you bought your own policy, you just threw $200 a month into the trash. The first step of extraction is a benefits audit. Log into your HR portal tonight. Add up the cost of your premiums, the value of your dental, vision, and life insurance, and any fringe benefits like gym reimbursements or transit passes. If that total doesn't equal at least 25% to 30% on top of your base pay, you're being underpaid. If it does, and you aren't using it, you're under-extracting. Now, let's talk about the 401k or pension match. The financial industry loves to talk about market returns. They'll tell you that 7% or 10% a year is the gold standard. They're wrong. The gold standard is the 100% instant return you get from a company match. If your employer matches 5% of your $70,000 salary, that is $3,500 of free money. But it's not actually free. It's part of your negotiated compensation. When you don't contribute enough to get that full match, you are literally telling your company, you can keep that $3,500. I don't want it. It's mathematically the same as taking a 5% pay cut for no reason. Let's look at the mechanics. If you put $100 into your 401k and your company matches 100%, your account balance becomes $200 the second that trade clears. To get that same $200 from the stock market alone, you'd have to wait roughly 7 to 10 years at historical averages. You just collapsed a decade of waiting into a single Tuesday afternoon. And because this money is taken out before it hits your bank account, you never feel the loss. If you automate a $290 monthly contribution to hit that $3,500 annual match, your take-home pay might only drop by $220 due to tax savings. You're trading $220 of lifestyle money for $580 of wealth. That's not an investment. It's a lopsided trade in your favor. Stop looking for the next moonshot crypto coin. The best trade you'll ever make is sitting right there in your payroll settings. Most people treat a health savings account like a simple way to pay for a doctor's visit. That is fine, but it can be much more powerful than that. An HSA is one of the strongest tax advantage accounts available because it gives you 3 layers of tax benefit. Money can go in pre-tax or tax deductible. It can grow without current tax, and qualified medical withdrawals can come out tax-free. That combination is rare. For example, at a 22% federal tax rate, a $4,300 HSA contribution could reduce federal income tax by about $946. That is nearly $1,000 that stays working inside your system instead of leaving it. And that is where most people undersell the account. They use the HSA like a spending card for small medical costs, drain it every year, and never give it a chance to compound. But if your HSA provider offers investment options and you can afford to cover current medical bills out of pocket, you can leave that balance invested for the long term instead of spending it right away. That is when the HSA starts acting less like a medical wallet and more like a long term financial shield. After age 65, if the money is used for qualified medical expenses, withdrawals remain tax free. If it is used for something else, you typically just pay regular income tax without the early penalty. So, no, an HSA is not just a place to park money for prescriptions. Used correctly, it can become one of the most efficient long term accounts in your entire system. Banks are skeptical of entrepreneurs. They love boring W 2 employees with steady paychecks. Honestly, your job is the best collateral you will ever own. Most people use their good credit to buy a car they can't afford. The samurai strategy is different. Use your boss's credit rating to buy assets. Let's say you earn $5,000 a month gross. To a bank, that $5,000 is a predictable stream of cash they can lean on. It allows you to secure a $300,000 mortgage at a fixed rate that would be impossible to get if you were a freelancer with fluctuating income. You use the W-2 to get the loan. You buy a rental property. The tenant pays the mortgage. The equity builds up while you are sitting in a meeting about synergy. But here's the problem. Most people wait until they quit their job to start investing in real estate. By then, they've lost their leverage. The bank won't talk to you once you're self-employed without 3 years of perfect tax returns. Extract the credit now. Buy the asset while you still have the safety of the 9 to 5. Your job isn't your career. It's your bank's favorite piece of paper. Look, your office isn't just a place where you work. It's a laboratory where you can learn on someone else's dime. Most people see training days as a chance to slack off or skip a few emails. That is a waste of a high-value asset. Large companies often have a learning and development budget. It usually sits around $2,500 per employee per year. If you aren't using that money to get certified in skills like data analysis, project management, or cloud architecture, you are leaving a $2,500 check on the table. But it goes deeper than that. Your company likely pays for enterprise software. Think about Salesforce, Adobe Creative Cloud, or a Bloomberg terminal. Individual licenses for these tools can cost $10,000 a year or more. If you spend your lunch hour mastering these tools, you are effectively conducting a 5-figure education opportunity. Honestly, the company training is rarely about the company. It's about making you Inc. more valuable. Once you have the certification and the mastery of the software, you take those with you. The company gets your labor for a few years. You get a skill set that pays you for the next 30. That is the ultimate time arbitrage. You aren't just doing your job. You are adding $10,000 of value to your personal resume every single year. So how do you actually run this fortress? You don't do it with willpower. Discipline is just a system that doesn't require you to be in a good mood. The goal is to move 15% of your gross income into your personal capital stack before you even see the money. Here is the math. If you earn $5,000 a month, your 15% target is $750. But because of the tax advantages we talked about, that $750 cost only feels like about $550 in your actual bank account. You automate $300 to your 401k to get the full match. You automate $345 to your HSA. You automate the rest into a high-yield savings account for your future property down payment. Once these numbers are set, you stop thinking about them. You become a shareholder of your own life. Most people wait for a big break or a lottery win. We will not wait. We extract value from the current system to build the next one. You aren't a servant. You are an investor who happens to work a 9 to 5. Listen, the 9 to 5 is only a trap if you let it be. If you just trade time for money, you lose. But if you extract the hidden 30% bounty, lock in the 100% match, use the HSA tax shield, and treat your salary as credit collateral, the math changes. Your job becomes the venture capital firm that funds your freedom. Here is your task for the week. Open your benefits portal. Find one thing you are paying for that you don't need, or one benefit you aren't using that you should. Let me know in the comment what you'll find and hit that subscribe button if you enjoy videos like this. If you want the specific breakdown of how easy it is to turn $18 a week into a $75,000 pile of cash, watch this video next. Stay disciplined. I'll see you on the path.